would like to welcome everybody and thank you all for taking some time out of your Wednesday morning to join us to talk about digital health and wellbeing apps. It's not about replacing doctors, etc. It's about using tech to help us keep on top of things as we get older and maybe help us manage a few things and motivate us and all that sort of stuff. Does anybody already use digital health and wellbeing apps? Just you can jump in or you can put your hands up, you can speak, open your mics.
Does that include just an activity tracker that can,
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. Lots of people. So good. Anyone got a smartwatch that they use? Yep. Same. Very good. All right. So this is going to be a two-way conversation for this morning. So please jump in if you've got anything further to add to what we're talking about, etc. So it can help us manage things. We can monitor our steps, our sleep, our heart rate. We can help manage medications and appointments, and we can also keep our medical records, etc. on there, and it can help to motivate us, or it can annoy the bejeebers out of us. I guess feel like we're not doing enough. So there's a bit of a fine line with some of those things. So yeah, we do need to be aware of that. It can help us create some healthy habits, and it can also help us be a little bit more mindful. There's a big push from big tech because they know that screens are very addictive, etc. So there are things in your device usually to monitor your screen time and make sure that you're not using it too much, or if you are, giving you some controls so that you can sort of keep a wrap on it and so forth. So Be Connected have got a lot of resources around digital health and wellbeing apps. We're just going to have a look at a few things today. We're not going to be touching on everything. I'm going to mention a few little tips and tricks and other bits and pieces that I use myself. And if you have got anything that you use, please feel free and share that as well. Your smartphone. So for those of you who don't have a smartwatch or anything like that, your phone actually might be able to do most of these things for you, or some of these things for you already. Is anyone aware of that your phone can track some of those things without having a specific watch, etc.? Yeah. So one of the things, now look, disclaimer here, I'm a card-carrying Apple nerd and my environment is all Apple. So Deborah's our Android person, so potentially I'm going to be calling on you, Deborah, to share what you know about these things. I have got some screenshots of the Google stuff, but I am going to refer a lot to the Apple Health app that I use a bit. So that by itself can actually track things like your walking steadiness, and these are all indicators of healthy aging as well. So being able to keep an eye on whether you're steady when you're walking, etc., is a really helpful tool for you to take back to your medical professionals so that you can say, oh, well, actually my trends are showing that my steadiness isn't going so well. What are some things that I can do to help increase my walking steadiness or my strength, etc.? Has anyone seen that? In who's Apple here? I know Sheena, you're definitely Apple. John, Sally, yep. So has anyone found the health app on their iPhone? Yep. And have you seen those? Have you set those things up on there so that it can track that? So just by having your phone in your back pocket, which is usually where mine goes, that's how it tracks my walking steadiness, and it can tell me. It was interesting, a few years ago, I actually broke my ankle, and it was interesting going back and looking at that, and my steadiness was not so great, obviously, because I was in a moon boot for 6 weeks. So you could see that in the months tracking. So, yeah. You don't need to have specialist apps. You can have things like your calendar setting reminders for you. Who uses the emergency contact information in their phone? You heard it? Yep, Sally. Good, good. Has everyone heard of that? That you can put emergency contact details in your smartphone? Now, I think Google does the same. I have got some screenshots here. Let me just go and get those up for you. Because as you can understand, it's sensitive information. So I've taken screenshots and redacted a whole bunch of stuff in here. So on Apple, this is my lock screen on my phone. And can you see there's a red button there that says emergency calls? And then there's also a medical ID down the bottom. So I can set that up, and that can show first responders things like any medications I might be on, any health conditions I might have. It will also take them to, where's my, here's my medical ID here. So I can turn it on to show when it's locked, share it during an emergency call. It gives my name and my blood type and if I'm an organ donor. And it can also, I think the next one is show you your emergency contacts. So somebody, if you don't need an ambulance, they can call from your phone to your emergency contacts. So that I find I've got my husband, children. So those are the things that are useful if you have an accident or anything like that. The phone is, if it's on you, which usually it is, someone can pick it up and they can call your trusted contacts, etc. So you can do the same in Android, and you can see here all I've done is search in the Android device for emergency, and it gives you a whole bunch of different options in that screen for the Android phone. Is anyone keen to set that up now that you've seen that, if you haven't used it before?
I am. I didn't know that was there.
Oh, very good. So, yeah. And so if your phone is locked, which hopefully it is because that's good security, and you have an accident or you're unwell, somebody can pick it up. You can list your medications, etc. So they can pick it up and see how to contact your loved ones, or they can even call 000 from your phone if you need that kind of help. There's also emergency settings on your watch, certain watches, and your phone. Some of the latest iPhones have crash detection in them. If you are in an accident, a car accident, the phone will like beep at you and say, we're about to call 000. We detect a crash. If you don't respond, it will continue on and call police, send your location, an ambulance, etc. So it'll call 000 for you, and your location is sent. Now, they do get some false positives in those. My husband gave us all a big fright a few years ago. I was out in the middle of the Indian Ocean working out at Christmas Island, and I got one of those SMSs because it also sends an SMS to your emergency contacts. And my daughter and I both panicked. My son, not so much. He was like, he's all right. But it was actually a false positive because the phone had overheated and he'd picked it up and popped it in the car quite firmly, and the algorithm thought it might have been an accident. So until the phone turned back on, it was a little bit frightening. But the police will do follow-up checks, and then Apple check all that data, the fact that there wasn't actually a trip to the hospital, etc., so they can improve on their algorithm. David, you've got your hand up.
Samsung Galaxy have similar.
Yeah,
Mine's
good.
not exactly the same, but
Yeah.
I've thumped my hand down heavily a couple of times, and my daughter rings me and said, "Are you all right, Dad?"
Yeah.
I've got two contacts, so it's virtually the same thing.
Yeah, that's right. There's also fall detection in the watch, in the Apple Watch. So that's a really good thing. For example, I work by myself at home, and I used to have a staircase, and I have two 4-legged office assistants that love to race me up and down the stairs. So I was always worried that I was going to fall down the stairs if they got under my feet. And so my watch could actually text my emergency contacts or call 000 for me as well. I know that as we get older, a lot of people need to have those panic buttons, and there's a bit of a stigma and a bit of a reluctance to wear those when they live on their own. So a watch might be a nicer option. Sally, you've got your hand up too.
Well, two things I was going to say, and I can attest to the watch working, because I managed to fall over my 20-month-old granddaughter last weekend when she came up behind me, and I didn't know she was there, and we both went flying to the ground. So the next thing, my watch is going beep, beep, beep. So it does work. But the other thing I was going to say was the emergency contact on the phone. My iPhone used to have that on the front page, doesn't have it anymore, and I can't even see how to access it, you know, if somebody else got hold of my phone. So it's just something they've changed that, you know, it's harder to access that now.
No, it should be on your lock when your phone is on lock screen. So if you can see, no, okay, so my phone is locked, and it obviously seen my face in. I don't want it to see my face.
But if she has facial ID, she won't see it.
Yeah,
only somebody else will.
So you have to try and open your phone without. So basically, cover your camera.
Yeah.
Because it will try and see you. So I'm just okay. So mine's
so
open.
you say, right, get to the lock screen with the numbers.
Yes.
Yeah, I see, and then it
and
actually
down the
appears.
bottom is emergency.
I got it. Yeah, I see it there now.
Yep,
got it.
So
okay,
it's only if it's not you.
Yeah. Okay.
But if you can trick it into not seeing you, then you can find it. Yep.
Yeah.
So, excellent. Very good. I actually have it monitoring my sleep as well. I wear my watch to bed. So if you've got a smartwatch, you can often track that, and it can tell you how many times you've woken and how good your sleep is and how bad your sleep is. And sometimes that can indicate other health conditions, etc. So, you know, that's not a bad use of technology. Does anyone else track their sleep with their, Deborah?
Yep.
Stephen, yeah. And how, with the Apple Watch, Barry, you do yours, excellent. With the Apple Watch, it gives you a score out of 100. I haven't managed to get 100 yet. And if you've had a late night, then that impacts, etc. So it's just a nice way to sort of be able to see if you are. Because some nights I think, I had a shocking sleep, but my sleep score was really good. And I'm like, maybe I thought I had a bad sleep, but I didn't. So, you know, you can just keep a track of that. Sometimes I think I've had a really good sleep and I've had a shocking sleep. You know, you never know. I also have medication reminders. So if you are taking medications, then if you're anything like me, I can sometimes forget that I'm supposed to be taking something, especially if you're on a course of antibiotics that you don't take all the time. It can help to remind you at a certain time of the day so that you're making sure that you're adhering to all the rules, etc. The Apple Health app has that by default. I'm not sure, Deborah, do you know if there's anything in Google? I did do a bit of research on that, but there wasn't really much information on that.
I don't recall seeing that on my Samsung Health app, but I've never really looked. Because I've got a Samsung phone and a Samsung watch, I tend to use Samsung Health for tracking steps and sleep and all that good stuff.
Good. Yep. There are some third-party apps that you can use for medication reminders, etc. But one thing I would just advise is to do some checks on where your data is, where it's stored, and who the developer is, etc. And the other thing is only download these apps onto your phones from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, because they've gone through a few more checks and balances and they're probably a bit more trustworthy. I'd still do your due diligence and check where they're from. One that I did a bit of research on, nothing huge, but was the MediSafe app. Apparently that's a good one. Does anyone else use that one? Has anyone else heard of that one, MediSafe? I'm interested to hear if anyone does use any of these apps, or if anyone's got anything else that they use to manage medication, reminders, etc. No?
That's not the AMCAL one, is it?
Oh, so AMCAL also, so some of the chemists have their own
but
apps.
it's not called AMCAL.
Oh, right. No,
it's got a red, what is it called? Health. No, I can't find it quickly. Sorry.
I know that AMCAL have an app that you can put your e-scripts in, and you can order from your nearest AMCAL chemist. And depending on the chemist that you're at, it's seriously, when you live in a tourist town and the dry season in particular is flooded with grey nomads and people on school holidays, etc., the chemist lineup can be a little bit challenging. So being able to put your order in before you leave home and then just waltzing up to the desk and grabbing them, and they're all paid for and everything, is a really huge convenience. So yeah, it is nice. And then I've been in Albany with my folks, and I've needed to do a chemist run, but the main street where the AMCAL is a bit hectic. That AMCAL actually does home deliveries as well, so it's worth jumping in if that's your local chemist, jumping in and checking, or speaking to your local chemist as to whether they have an app that you can put your e-scripts in and save a bit of time from standing in line and waiting and stuff.
It looks like the AMCAL app is called AMCAL Pharmacy app.
Yes, that's the one I use when I'm around. That's been really good because it stores your e-scripts in there, and it will give you reminders when your prescriptions are due to be renewed. That is, if you're taking your tablets on the prescribed schedule. If you're not, then you might be out of whack. So that's a really handy one to keep an eye on when your scripts are due. And it's really handy to keep all of your e-scripts in one spot as well. So
I use MedAdvisor.
Yes, that's it. MedAdvisor. But it defaults to AMCAL for me.
Yeah, when I was looking around at it, I found there's dozens of them.
Yeah.
Different apps doing the same thing.
Yes, so many, David. And so that's why it's really worth doing your homework on who's the developer, who owns it, what do they do with your data, because that's some pretty sensitive information. So making sure you know where it is. And if you're using Google Gemini or ChatGPT or Perplexity, it's worth putting it in there and asking the AI to do a deep dive as to the privacy and any red flags for risks with your data in that particular app, and ask them who owns the developer, where their servers are located, etc., and then make your decisions based on the information that you get back from that. And ask it to give you the sources for where it's found that information as well. So does anyone else do that? I quite often do that when I find a new app. I think, oh, that'll be good. I'll ask an AI model where the data lives and who owns the company. Is it owned by an Australian company? Is it owned by an American company or anywhere else in the world? And checking what their privacy principles are, basically. So yeah, no one else gets that worried about it.
When you say you ask AI, you mean a particular go-to?
Yeah, I usually am using ChatGPT, but I can use Perplexity. Google's Gemini can do the same, and they are quite good at giving you the sources, and then you can go and verify where it's found the information. So yeah, just because you don't have these apps doesn't mean you can't use your calendar or your reminders app to do this as well. So you can. Does anyone use reminders or calendar apps on their phones? My whole life is in my calendar.
Yeah.
And my reminders. So, I mean, you don't have to have a specific app. You just, you can use what's on your device. So that's the beauty of it. There's lots of things that are designed specifically for medication reminders, etc. But you don't have to go that far. Medical ID. So the medical ID is a really good one. You can put notes in to remind yourself as to why. But even the reminders app these days, they've got a section for notes and stuff. So that's a really useful one. So that if you need to set a recurring reminder for something, you can put notes in as to what it is to help you remember. If you're anything like me, I'll tell Siri to remember something and then I'll forget why I've asked it to remember that. So if that doesn't prompt me enough, I can go in and pop some notes in there as well. Anyone else got anything else? Any other apps that they use for that sort of stuff?
I've got two on my phone here. One is called ICE, I-C-E, in case of emergency. I think that's on Apple too, but I know it's on the good phones.
We're not going to go into that, David.
I got a couple of friends who got Apple and we're really each other. And the other one is Emergency Plus. And both of these are very good for emergencies. If you're lost somewhere, if you hit them or whatever. And they will also contact my daughter and granddaughter if I'm in problems.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, excellent. That is really handy to have stuff like that. So, like I said, the Apple stuff does that by default if you're in there. So it's good to know that there's options on the Android-based devices as well. So if you are sticking with Samsung, there's Samsung stuff. But if you're using a different brand with an Android operating system, then I don't know what the Google-based stuff is. Yes, Eva.
Any suggestions for an app with an elderly person who goes for a walk but may get disorientated and lost, and for their partner to be able to check up where they are and just find out, are they okay?
Yeah. So if you're all on Apple, there's the Find My app. So
Find My.
But you both have to be on Apple for that, and you have to approve someone else to follow you. So, for example, my son loves his fishing, and there are big crocodiles in the waterways that he goes fishing in. And so he shares his location with me. So I know that if he's been out, I can check whether he's back in port or not, or whether he's back at home, which is 100 k's from port. He's given me permission to track his location, and he can see where I am. So that's a really useful use of that. You could also, like the Apple Watch is another one. If you're on Android, there is, I don't know if there's anything native.
Natika, what you can do is if one of you is Apple and the other's Android, is use your Google Maps and share location on Google Maps.
Oh, okay, that's
and
good.
That works.
I didn't know you could share.
No, I didn't know, because that was while we were overseas, my partner and I wanted to keep an eye on where he was when he and I weren't apart, and it worked really well, actually.
Oh, excellent, Sally. So with that, you have to be signed into a Google account. Is that how that works?
Yes, I think, yes, you'd have to have a Google account, yes.
Yep, okay. Oh, that's good to know. I'll go and investigate that one. Thanks.
Yep.
That's there is another app called Life 360, and there'd be others similar to that, and that's a cross-platform. It doesn't matter sort of what platform you're on, whether you're on Apple or Android, and that's again permission-based and sharing between different devices and family members, etc. So the other thing is you could strap an AirTag to them, Eva.
I did think about that until I worked out Google Maps work just as well.
Yeah.
So if you can find that dashed little Allen key to open the jolly thing. And stuttering hands don't work well with that. But yeah, that's a whole nother thing. Yeah.
Can I say that you don't need the latest iPhone to be able to do it? It can be quite an old iPhone for the other person to carry. We collected quite a lot of older iPhones for that purpose. We set them up in a very basic setup, and that the partner, they wouldn't necessarily use the phone themselves, but we set it up so that they just had one button to press if they, for exactly that purpose of keeping track of the one who might not find their way home. You can, quite an old phone will do the same job. It doesn't have to be the latest.
Yeah, it just needs to have an internet connection. That's the tricky part sometimes, and it needs to be with the person. So with the watches, if you're going bushwalking, for example, with the Apple Watch, and tell me if something similar on Android or Samsung Galaxy watches, there's actually like a backtrack. So if I'm going for a walk, my watch will see, like in the fitness app in there, it will say to me, oh, it looks like you're going for a walk. Do you want us to track that? Yes. But there's also an app in there that will track you so that you can then backtrack, and it will show you where to go if you're not too sure. That's a useful one if you've got a smartwatch on there. Now, in the chat, Clara has said he's seen Health Direct app, which is claimed to be Australia's top-rated free option, which I was going to talk about, and so it's a good time for me to jump on and show you that. So Health Direct is set up by the Australian government, so it's healthdirect.gov.au. So I haven't actually used it, but Clara says that it integrates directly with the My Health record to securely store your immunisations and pathology, etc. There's also health advice and information. I think I've seen a few ads for this one on Tally lately, and the call line is staffed by nurses. So if you've got something that you don't need to go to accident and emergency or your GP, you can make a call. There's a symptom checker, there's a service finder, there's a whole bunch of topics on there that you could have a look at. That's probably trying to ease a bit of pressure off of our medical system. Has anybody used that service? No?
I'm installing it now.
Oh, very good.
Did you used to be able to get that information from MyGov, but this has replaced that or something?
No. So MyGov, you can access your My Health record through MyGov. Think of MyGov as a little marketplace for all of your federal government services to be in one spot. So you use one login to come in, and you've got Medicare, you've got My Health record, you've got ATO, etc., whatever you connect up to your federal government space. If Health Direct is managing your records, it's probably through the My Health record. If you join that and sign in, which I haven't done, so I'm not sure. So if anyone has done that, just let me know. But that's a really useful one to know about, and maybe go and get some help. And if you have signed in and you are making potentially, I don't know this for certain, but they might be able to see your medical history, etc. So that might help inform the advice that they're giving you. But don't quote me on that. I'm not sure.
If you go to the MyGov site, you can find out all that information.
Very good. Thanks, David.
It's on the MyGov site.
Yeah,
so
okay.
Even if
thank you.
People are in the bush like Western Australia, it's still available for you.
Yeah, that's right. And that's what I like about it, is that it doesn't matter where you are, you've got access. So, yeah. Stephen, you've got your hand up.
Oh, look, someone mentioned the health app changing. It's 1-800 Medicare is sort of one that's changed recently, and just looking at it now, you can add your own medications and different information to that. And it's really my health record. So it gives all the medications, all the scans, all that information, which whether someone else can access it in an emergency, that'd be through the My Health records, so health professionals could presumably, But just looking at it, I can edit my medications, so that'll be on my to-do list.
So my health record is the same. So you can add and subtract things in there, and you can say who can see what. So if you don't want medical professionals to see certain things in your My Health record, you've got full control over that in the My Health app or the My Health record site app, however you access it. And you do sign in through your MyGov or your digital ID, which we spoke about a few weeks back. So that's all really helpful to know. But my biggest warning, if you are putting those apps on your devices, particularly for those Android users, sorry, David, make sure you go to the Google Play Store and you get the legitimate apps so that you know that they are the government authorised apps, and that's your security. So, Going on the chat again, Bernard has said locate or track your Android device. You can use Google's Find Hub, so formerly Find My Device. That's basically Apple's Find My does the same. So in the Find My app for Apple, you can find your AirTagged things, you can find people, and you can find your Apple devices. You can also find things like I've got Beats headphones. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about was being able to book your medical appointments. So there are apps called HotDoc, and there's another one called, so there's Health Engine or HotDocs.
Easy Visit. Easy Visit's the one I use.
Okay. Well, it depends on what your GP clinic
uses.
Yeah. If you are looking for telehealth, etc., you can just go in and search for there. My caveat on that would be that if you are searching for telehealth, just check that they're actually covered by Medicare, because I have booked some telehealth GP clinics when I was sort of moving, and they're not all covered by Medicare. So just be aware of that if you don't want to be paying full price for those GP appointments. Anyone else use any of those?
There's another one called Partnered Health, which has just had a data leak.
Right.
Yes.
And HotDoc also has had some data leaks. And so this was one of the things I was going to raise, is that, when your doctor says you've got to use this method, it doesn't, they're not necessarily the most safe places to do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
The question is, what is safe today?
Yeah. And I think that's the thing, is we all need to do our due diligence and check. And if we're not comfortable with that, ring your local clinic and say, no, I don't want to use that. I don't know if they can make you use that to make your bookings. And if that's the case, then maybe it's worth, if you're in a larger, that's right. If you're in a larger centre, you have that luxury, then by all means. But when you live in the bush, you don't have that many options sometimes.
What you do is you use the old bugger excuse. I don't know how to do that.
We are trying to remove the old bugger excuse for you all, David. That's our whole plan here, is to make it.
I don't use it. It's there for you.
Yeah, fair enough. Mike, you've got your hand up.
I was going to say, one thing you should all have access to is your virtual ED, the number you need to call for a virtual ED.
Yeah.
They're extremely helpful, and I've used them a number of times to great effect.
Okay, I'm just searching for that. I've not. Oh, so that's a WA Health one.
No, well, the one I use is Queensland Health, but I'm pretty sure that all state health departments have a virtual emergency department.
Yep.
Usually a
Victorian
1-800 number.
Okay. Very good. So obviously, because I'm in WA, that's the first one that it's popped up for me. So I would just search for virtual ED. I hadn't heard of that one. So thank you for sharing that. That's excellent. Very good. Does anyone use anything else like Fitbit or Garmin Health or anything like that? That ties in, no? So those are wearables as well. So that's what we're going to talk about, the wearables as well as the apps on your phone. This is the Apple Activity Tracker. They have so they have your rings. So the aim is to close those each day. And I can set those metrics as to, so the red circle is how many active calories I'm burning a day. And I can set that. I can set that as low or as high as I want it to be. The green one is your active minutes. So if I'm tracking an activity like this down the bottom, if I'm tracking an outdoor walk or if I'm going for a kayak or a bike ride or anything, I can choose those. Or if I'm doing yoga or Pilates, there's a whole bunch of activities that you can track in there. And then there's little awards so that you get that little dopamine hit when you've done well. You go, yay! And then the blue ring inside the middle is your stand hours. So ideally, we need to move around for 10 minutes of every hour for at least 12 hours a day to maintain health and well-being. That's what those are set for. I can then, if I close all of those, it does a little bit of a dance on the screen of my watch and tells me good girl, gets that dopamine hit with a little bing, so it encourages me to do better. Basically, all of the wearables have something similar, I would imagine, and you should be able to set your goals, etc. So the green one is set to a standard, the fine 30 basically, so 30 active minutes a day, etc. And if I'm sitting for too long, my watch will tap me and say, hey, it's 10 to the hour, get up and move around. It's actually pretty good because sitting apparently is the new smoking. So sitting is really bad for you. So I can tell when I've had a really focused day in the office because I've got 3 or 4 hours in a row where I haven't moved, and that concerns me. So it does get a bit more persistent and says, get up and move around. And it can also do the standard tracking, the number of steps that you have, etc., have taken and so forth. So does anybody else use those on their wearables to keep them on target?
Yeah.
No? Yeah.
On my Samsung watch, I have that I use constantly, checks my heartbeats.
Yes, that was another one I was going to talk about, was your heart rate. Some devices can check your oxygen saturation as well. So that's a really good way to sort of track if you're breathing enough, I suppose. But there are also ones in there to help you with relaxation and meditation. Does anybody, like, the new buzzword is mindfulness, but it's basically just finding a bit of calm and a bit of quiet time in the day. Does anyone use anything in particular for that?
I've tried those out, and I tried out one that kind of told me a bedtime story.
Oh, nice.
But I didn't find that it helped me to sleep any better, so I've given up on that.
So you didn't like
Fair enough.
Didn't like the 3 bears or Goldilocks?
Oh, it was a very complicated story.
Sorry.
Yeah, I probably would have done better with the 3 bears.
Was it trying to bore you to sleep?
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe. So there are lots of apps. Again, just be aware of where they're coming from and what data they're collecting and keeping on file for you, etc. Just make sure that you're comfortable with what they're doing with your information. But I've got a few here that I can share. One of the most popular ones I think I hear a lot about is called Calm. Again, you can access it online, but it's also an app, and that will help you with things like meditation, stress and anxiety, and just general breathing techniques. In the Apple Watch, sorry to keep harping on, but that's the space I'm in, I can set reminders on my watch to remind me throughout the day to just stop and take a breath. And I can either do a 1, 2, 3, 5 minute breathing, I can do a reflection, etc. There's a whole bunch of things that it will help me remember to do throughout the day. Whether I listen to it or not is the thing. Does anyone else have anything that they use for that?
I've tried Calm.
Yeah.
And I didn't persevere with it.
Yeah.
I can't remember why. It was so long ago.
Yeah, I found the interruptions were annoying.
Yes. Yeah. Tina, you had your hand up.
I know. I was just going to say I tried it a few years ago as well, and I can't remember either, but I didn't find it calming at all.
Yeah. There's another one called Headspace. There's another one called Insight Timer, and that the website that I go into, like I haven't used any of these. The Insight Timer says, how can we help you sleep? Do you want to sleep better, reduce stress or anxiety, meditation, spirituality, or anything else? So those are ones that you can sort of, let's go sleep better and see what it offers. And you step through the questions and answers and go from there. Again, make sure that you get them from the correct app stores so that you know that they're the legitimate ones, etc. There was one called Liven that I was using for a little bit, and that had little activities for you to do and all that sort of stuff. So I suppose it just depends on what you need and what you want to do. I did have one because when I travel, I have trouble falling asleep sometimes when you're in different hotel beds and so forth. There's a hypnosis fellow that I was following, and he had an app, and you could use him to hypnotize you to sleep if you believe in that sort of stuff. And it's just him talking you through that full body relaxation, and I found that I did have a really good sleep after I had used to help me get off to sleep. So yeah. Anyone got anything else for meditation?
Sorry, Natika, that last one that you spoke about, when you travel and find it hard to sleep, what app was that?
So the fellow I follow is he's Scottish. His name is Andrew Johnson. And some of his apps are free and some of them are paid. And there's he's a hypnotist basically, and he can talk you. So if you want to develop better habits, you can find one that's that. If you want to lose weight, it helps to sort of, you do that every day for 3 weeks, and it sort of discourages you from eating the wrong foods, and it's all of those sorts of bits and pieces. So I found that quite handy and I like it. I also, the other thing that's not really a health app, but in Apple Music and in Spotify as well, I think you can actually find sleep tracks. So we have either a nice thunderstorm one that we listen to, or there's ocean waves, or there's certain frequencies that you can play that help you to sort of just tune down and go to sleep. So sometimes if I wake up in the middle of the night and I can't get back to sleep, I'll just sort of play that again. You can play it. There's a track on Apple Music for the thunderstorms that's an hour and a half long. So usually I'm well and truly asleep by then once I've listened to that for a while. So obviously that needs a subscription to Apple Music, or you need to purchase the track. Spotify, I think I was a bit worried with the free Spotify because it plays ads on the free one. I thought, if you put that on of a night time, you're going to get woken up with ads in the middle of the night. But apparently you don't, even on the free one. So if you've just got a little speaker that you can take with you, or you can just play it directly out of your phone when you're traveling, or even at home. So yeah. Anyone else got any other hints or tips on how to fall asleep?
Freebird do a really good yoga nidra audio, and that's about moving around your body consciously, mindfully, and it's a great one to pick up energy during the day, and you can hope. It's designed for you to be aware, not asleep, but it also can lead to a really short, deep sleep that is very refreshing.
That's good.
I've used it to get to sleep at night too.
Yeah, excellent. That's good. There are also lots of people on YouTube that provide things like, you know, some strength training or some yoga or some Pilates or any of those sorts of things. With a subscription, the Apple Fitness app, you can actually undertake. They've got lots and lots of trainers that do all sorts of different activities, and if you've got the watch on, you can put it up onto your Apple TV and participate as if you're in a class. It's really handy when you live somewhere where there's no personal trainers or anything like that. If you wanted to be getting into some sort of a program with the Apple Fitness app, you can actually set your own program and go and pick and choose which trainers you like, etc. It does require a subscription, so you know that's something to be aware of. It's an extra cost, but for me it's cheaper than a gym membership. But again, it's whether I get myself motivated, and it's all on me to actually do those things. So yeah, Bernard's put in here he uses Garmin Connect, so that's good. When he does lots of activities during the day, found that he doesn't need any apps to make him go to sleep. So there's a hint. If you're active all day, that helps you hop off to sleep anyway. So yeah. All right. Anyone got any other questions or anything else?
I wanted to mention that I bought an Aura ring and wore it for a while, and discovered that it's not waterproof, so I had to take it off every time I wash my hands. So I've given up on that. If anybody would like a free Aura ring, I'll send it to you.
How silly is that? That it's not waterproof.
Wow.
Oh.
Goodness me. Sheena, you were jumping in just then. What were you?
Just about exercises. There are some really good exercise apps. A lot of them are you have to pay for an annual subscription or something. But if people know about the Independent Living Association, ILA, or Live Up, they've got a lot of really good apps now, exercise program on their website. Well worth having a look at. I've created an icon on my home screen to take me to those exercises, and worth having a look at.
And they're very good.
Free.
Oh, good. Thanks, Sheena. I might get
I do some with Older Women's Network, so OWN, and they have an exercise. They've got Tai Chi's Tuesday. Today was chair yoga, and they've got dancing exercise, and they've got the bowls, and they've got them all. But it's 5 days a week. Yeah, you can either put some, and I do another one on Friday with a Ben with Tai Chi, and they're all by donation. But their own OWN New South Wales, you don't have to pay, or you can put a donation in.
Right. Yeah. I'm just popping those in the chat so that I've got a record of that. Sheena, what was yours? Independent Living?
ILA, it's called, or Live Up. They're on Facebook. If you look them up on Facebook, they've got some quite good exercises. And Facebook is another place you can get a lot of quite good exercises.
Yeah.
It's for over 50s and all kinds of things. So there are lots of good exercise places if you know where to look.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you for that. Now, who had that?
My cardiologist is not happy about accepting even the finger stall thing for heart rate and oxygen. The figures that I give. And the same with, he has no faith. So anybody that's doing any lobbying need to get to the medicos and convince them that these things have a use. But he's very suspicious of it. I mean, he's very well trained, he's very good, but he is not convinced by any data that I give him that.
I read an article that looked at testing those devices against the proper medical devices, and there was quite a difference between the readings. And what they suggest is look at the trends over time rather than take it as gospel. So if your heart rate is normally 100 and it suddenly goes up to 150, that's an indication. But if it's 100 and your GP says, well, no, actually it's 120, I trust the GP. If that makes sense.
Absolutely. But I think you're absolutely right. It can help you track trends over time. So like the walking steadiness is a useful one, the heart rate. I've just started some therapy for myself because I have just recently been diagnosed with a condition, and my app was telling me for a year that I had signs of this condition, and I was kind of ignoring it, going, yeah, whatever. And I finally went to the doctor and said, well, it tells me this. And they said, well, let's send you off to do the actual clinic. And so I did that, and it's like, yes, you definitely do, and it's severe. So here's the treatment. And within the first 4 weeks, well, not even 4 weeks, within a week, my trends were coming down for my resting heart rate. My walking heart rate had come down. So my phone can show me over as long as I've been tracking these metrics. And the treatment hasn't been fun, but I've said to the person that I'm working with, if my watch wasn't telling me that I was getting better, I would be giving it up. But I'm going to stick with it. So, you know, that's the sort of thing that for me, it's in my mind. I know that there's something in there that, that I just, I need to be able to justify to myself it's worth the pain of the treatment to keep those improvements up. And so I'm keeping a track of things like, obviously it can't take your blood pressure, but I'm keeping a track of that as well. And I feel like those are going down as well. But that's all stuff that you can take to your doctor and say, well, this is what it's telling me over time. You can also, with your wearables, with your Apple Watch, you can set high heart rate notifications and low heart rate notifications, so that if you are sitting or you're relatively still and all of a sudden your heart rate skyrockets, it can tell you, because sometimes those can be indicators of a condition that's coming on, etc. Deborah said,
you should eat bananas when you've got high blood pressure and low blood pressure. Bananas do it. And if you've got high blood pressure, alternate nostril breathing 5 times and it'll bring it down.
Oh, right. Yes, I do know that the breath work helps.
Right, close off one and breathe in. Hold it for 5 seconds and breathe out with the other one for 5 seconds. And do that for 5 times and it'll bring your blood pressure down.
Yes, I have done breathing exercises when I've gone into doctors for a blood pressure check. So, but yes, and that's the thing, those apps that guide you through some breathing activities are really good as well. Calm your nervous system and all of those other physiological signs as well. So it's a good overview, I think, general overview of how you're tracking as we get older. Like Deborah says, don't take it as gospel. Use it as a starting point for a conversation with your GP. And yes, some GPs are very anti-technology, etc. But you've got to listen to the body. Yeah, shop around if you've got that luxury. So So Deborah's put in there. Gemini AI says the Freebird meditations are available within an app called Insight Timer, which is one of the ones that I had up on the screen, available in iOS and Android. So. But again, I think that's a subscription-based, the Insight Timer one. App of the Year winner from Time Magazine and Women's Health, the Insight Timer. Happiest app in the world, #1 free meditation app. There you go. So Insight Timer. So that's a good one, apparently. Bernard, RHR notification doesn't work. what's RHR? Is that if you have bradycardia like me, minimum is 40, but mine's 37 when sleeping, so I have to have it off. Right. Okay. So resting heart rate. Okay. Very good. Thank you. Yeah. And it's not good when you're sitting watching a movie and you get a big fright either. Sometimes that can trigger it. Excellent. All right. So basically the takeaways are our apps and our devices can help us stay healthier, can help us stay organised, can help motivate us to be a bit more active, stay connected, keep track of things. And as always, it's on us to do our due diligence and make sure that the data that we're putting in is going somewhere safe and knowing how to do those bits and pieces. So hopefully you've all picked up something new today. I have definitely picked up new. So thank you very much for that, Sally. That was really good. I love it when it's a two-way street in here. Deborah's got a Clubs Forum coming up in 2 weeks' time. What is your topic for that one, Deborah?
It's Windows 11, and it won't be a straight Q&A session because we found doing that for the Android session last month was a bit hard work. So it's on the 12th of August at 2 p.m. Sydney time, and it will be on Windows 11, but I will have some tips for you, and there will be a little time for question and answer as well. Windows 11 is a big topic, so I'm just picking some specific things to talk about.
Excellent. And then the next one for me, and it'll be the final one from me, will be on the 26th, I think it is, of August. And we're going to be looking at creating GIFs in Canva. Yes, it's the 26th, same time. So creating things using Canva. So that's a little bit creative and arty and so forth. So, yeah, keep an eye on our Humanities Collections page, and all of our upcoming forums will be on there. Deborah's going to keep those running for you. Anyone got any final questions? Comments, observations?
Oh, if I can, sorry, it's last. So it was well-being and health and stuff. So well-being seems to be the 5 universal elements of well-being are exercise, awareness of the world around us, learning, giving, and connection. And I haven't heard anything that, so looking at apps, I just did a quick browse, and there is one for Google and one for Apple that will help you organize the people you want to stay in contact with, set a frequency, and then remind you to contact people. So that side of connection, I mean, you mentioned that sitting is the new smoking. Social isolation is supposed to be equivalent to about 11 cigarettes a day. So that isolation and breaking that down and having some prompt to maintain connections or establish connections as part of a overall well-being plan that uses technology.
Yeah. Thanks, Stephen. That's a really great point. And the other thing that you could do is look for, so there's, I don't know, I've moved recently in the last 12 months to the south coast of WA, where I used to live in the top, and now I live in the bottom. So there's a bit of climactic change, but there's a group of people here who swim every day, regardless of the temperature. I would love to go and do that, but I'm just not brave enough. But if you can find groups around your geographical location that do things
-2 we were this morning.
Oh my goodness, Trish.
-2. Right. You want to go
not swimming weather.
Oh my gosh. So so walking, walking groups. Even my daughter lives in Perth, and there's in her local shopping centre, there's one of the coffee shops has an activity every week that's kind of like a memory cafe, where you can go, anyone can go and sit down, and there's people there just sitting ready for a chat and a connection, basically. So any of those sorts of things, if you can sort of get those happening. And I think a lot of our clubs offer that connection for people, and just, there's a purpose there. So if you if you're needing purpose, then go along and learn some more about tech and empower yourself and teach the grandkids something. It's always good when we can come
to Switched On Seniors. You could come to Switched On Seniors and be a volunteer, or
that's
learn
right.
yourself.
Yep, that's right, Sheena. Everyone's got something to offer. Yes, Russell.
I just haven't said anything in this session, so I just should add one thing I've found very valuable, that if you need to change your health in a major way as a result of some trauma, such as death, serious news, sickness, or anything else, that I've found tapping very good.
Yes.
Tapping they're actually, because I do acupuncture, it's a technique for changing your outlook and your attitude to things, changing your mental state. And as you recite various affirmations, or you could call them self-hypnosis suggestions, and there's a certain pattern that you're taught to use in these, you tap on acupuncture points on your head and upper body, and it seems to inject through the acupuncture system the signals into the brain such that these things really stick. And so you can get over terrible trauma and terrible news and improve your health and outlook, reduce your anxiety very effectively in about a month or 2 months. And there's no need to keep using it. It just seems to work. You get over that phase of your life and you can use it for other things. I'm not using it now, but I did use it for about 4 months and found it very valuable. There's lots of free courses on the internet, some on mobile phones, or you can go on the internet via your mobile. Council of Adult Education run paid courses, and in America it's a new smoking cure there. It's really taking off at the moment, although I think it started there 10 years ago. So you can just Google tapping and you'll find some reference to it. It can be done in like 5 minutes before you go to sleep. You can use it for putting yourself off to sleep, all sorts of things.
Yes, I can absolutely attest to that. I know somebody who was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, and the tapping was what their psychologist worked through with them, and it's helped to calm some of the noise and to reduce the panic attacks. It's been able to reduce nightmares, etc., that are related to the PTSD. So yes, 100%. Thanks for sharing that, Russell. Yeah, excellent. All right, well, Deborah's had to run off. She has another class
to help me go to sleep, but I have changed it to what I want to do. So I don't go through the whole lot what they want to do. I just do some positive ones and they're on the right spots, and it'll put you to sleep in 5 minutes. There you go.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you.
That's good. There we go. There's some Googling for everyone to do, tapping to help you sleep and all that sort of stuff. Thank you all so much for all of your input. It's helped to enrich this session, and I look forward to seeing you all in a month's time.
Thank you.
Thank you too.
Bye.
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 Bye.